starts in 3, 2, 1. Hey y'all, it's me, and I'm back again. Um, Way later than I was supposed to be, by the way. December was rough. My entire family, my whole house was sick. Me, my kids, we were taking turns. I was sick, he was sick, he was sick, he was sick, he was better, I was better, he was sick, I was worse, he was worse. It was ridiculous, and it's still going on. Even today, I got to take my baby back to the doctor because he's still not doing as well as he should be right now. But they are priority forever and always, and I had to take care of them before I had time to sit down and record a video. Right now it's my day off, and he is taking a nap, and the other one is back at school, so I got a little bit of time to fool around with y'all. And in that little bit of time, we are going to talk about Mr. Edward Butler Blaine from Virginia. He is from Spotsylvania, Virginia. I have no clue where that's at, by the way. I never heard of it until this whole thing happened. But he's from Spotsylvania. The crime actually took place in, I think it's called Rockport or something like that, Virginia, which I also have never heard of. But anyway, let's get to the story. So Edward Butler Blaine, which is hard for me to say all that smushed in together like that. So I'm finna call him Eddie. Eddie was 61 at the time, and I'm guessing that he was a little short on cash because Christmas had just passed. Right after Christmas, 3, 2, 1, Happy New Year, and then rent due. Like that quick, like boom, boom, bam. So Eddie was a little low on money, and he needed to get his little money right real quick. And what do we do on this channel when we need to get our money right? In a jiffy. We rob some. That's what we do. All right. So he decided he wanted to rob some. And the sum he wanted to rob was a bank. He gonna rob a bank. I love Set It Off. That's like one of my favorite movies. He needs that money. Eddie needed that money, y'all. So he got on in his car. Actually, it wasn't his car. He went and got a rental car. I don't know if he got it specifically to rob the bank or not, but he pulled up to the bank in a rental car. Eddie, I will give you your credit. This part of the story is not stupid. You did what you were supposed to do. My dog over there tripping. I don't know what Max, what are you doing? I don't know what he got going on, y'all. But anyway, calm down, boy. So Eddie did this part right. Like I said, he had his mask, he had his gloves, he had his little note, give me all your money, you know. So he went on in there, masked up, gloved up, slipped it to the teller. And she got a little scared, but she went on and gave him his money. He ran out, and that's when everything takes a turn for the worse. Eddie struggled, y'all. Eddie was struggling in this story. So Mr. Eddie, I guess, forgets to zip up his bag that he just got all this money put in. Or maybe she didn't zip it up and he didn't think to double check. But he runs out of the bank, and he is leaving a trail of $100 bills behind him. This is what the report said. There was a trail of $100 bills behind him as he was running. So, A, you losing money. You done robbed this place, and you losing hundreds of dollars every step you take. This just not a good look, Eddie. You robbed secure your bag, Eddie. So he runs. He gets to his rental car. He trying to open up the door. And then he realized, oh shoot, I locked my keys inside of my rental. Now there's just a few things that if you gonna rob somebody or somewhere, especially a bank, because you know how serious that is, make sure you got your T's crossed and your I's dotted, because making sure a bag zipped and making sure you got your keys to the getaway car are pretty high priority. So I don't know what you were planning while you were planning this, but those two things should have been on the list, Eddie. But they weren't. Side note, new year, new hair, who this? Okay, so Eddie realized he can't get in his car. You done robbed the bank. You have to go. You can't sit around hanging out chilling after you just robbed the bank, especially in a small town, because apparently this is a small town. So he looks around. He sees this big wood log on the ground. Some of it said a big piece of wood. Some of it said a log. But we just going to call it a log for the purposes of this story. So he picks up the log and he's boom, 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 trying to bust his window open to this rental, which also, I'm just now thinking about this. That's not a great idea because this is a rental. You're going to have to pay for that, Eddie. But whatever. Pay for the window and get away or get locked up. I get you. I got you. Whatever. Bust that window down. So he's trying to bust the window down, but he's not successful. He's struggling. So he takes the log and he throws it at a pickup truck that just so happened to be parked next to him. Mind you, whole time, it's an auto body shop that he's parked in front of. He's actually parked in the parking lot of the auto body shop. Parked in front of the Bay Area where they bring the cars in and out. So these folks have been looking at your car since you parked, basically trying to figure out who this is, blocking all of their little area that they trying to work in. So they looking out the window and they see him throw the log. And who sees him? The owner of the auto body shop, who is also the owner of the truck that he just hit with that big log that he threw out. So Mr. Owner Man and one of his employees run on over to Eddie and they're like, what are you doing? And Eddie's like, no, no, man, I locked my keys in the car and I'm just trying to get home. I gotta get home, I gotta go. So is that the real story? I don't know. But in my head, I presume, because they said that they had a short conversation with him. So that's what the short conversation was in my head. Now back to the story. So they like, oh no, well, hold it down. Make sure you move your car. You can't just be, standing here taking up space. You're interrupting our business. We can't conduct our regular business because you in the way, Eddie. They probably didn't know his name was Eddie. So they went on back in the auto body shop. And the phone gets the ring-a-linging. Who's on the line? It's Miss Shawty Girl, the teller, the bank teller from across the street. She is calling them. She's watching the whole thing out the window. So she like, hey, Mr. Owner Man, that dude that you was just talking to just robbed us. Don't let him get away. Police are on their way, but they are not here yet. We need him to be apprehended because he just robbed us at gunpoint. So Mr. Owner Man and his employee, being the good Samaritans that they are, they like, we got to protect the community. Another side note, because y'all know I like side notes. I don't know how close the street was together that she is watching them and they're watching her and you can see all of this, or like, I don't know what kind of area this is that she's just looking out the window. He don't see her seeing them and they're seeing him, and he don't see himself being seen by them as she was seeing him and them. It makes sense. You just got to draw the lines in the right way. Everything I said just makes sense, okay? You get exactly what I was saying. So they run back outside and they like, excuse me, sir, we can't let you go. Now he's like, oh shoot, they owning me. They know what just happened. So Eddie, pew, takes off. And Mr. Owner Man, pew, employee, pew, takes off behind them. So they running down the road. Either the employee or the owner. I didn't get which one did, but I think it was the owner actually, but I'm not 100% sure. They tackle Eddie. So tackle Eddie to the ground and he fighting. Little 61-year-old self giving up a fight. Now I don't know if they was like wrestling, tussling, but in my head they were swinging. He wanted his money. He was going to fight for his money because he just worked hard for that. He ain't just robbed nobody at gunpoint to say, here you go. He wanted to keep his money. So he fighting. He reaches in his coat pocket and he trying to get his gun out, y'all. He trying to get his gun out, but he can't because it's stuck in his pocket. So he can't get it out. So he decides he gonna shoot while the gun's still in his pocket. Pow! He shot himself in the leg. So you're losing your money. You lock your keys in your car. You done got into a fight with these good Samaritans, and now you done shot yourself too. Eddie, you're not doing a great job. This is not the career for you. You are not the bank robber of the century. You need to sit down somewhere or try to find something else out to do with your life to make some money. This ain't it, Eddie. You got to figure something else out. And that's not it either, okay? So he keeps on fighting with Mr. Owner Man. They fighting on the ground. Now, Mr. Owner Man thinking in his head, I presume, if he just tried to shoot me and he shot himself, now he really mad. And I know he got a gun. And I know it's loaded because I see the blood coming out of his leg. So I got to make sure he don't shoot me. So Mr. Owner Man start fighting even harder because at this point, it's life or death. It ain't just me trying to save, the community and the money. I got to save myself. It's me or you, and it ain't going to be me. So he fighting him even harder. Ends up, he tries to shoot Mr. Owner Man again, but the hammer of his gun, according to the report, was stuck in his pocket. So he could not shoot Mr. Owner Man. What kind of coat did you wear, Eddie? Did you think about the pocket to pistol ratio when you decided to take that gun in? You can't be trying to fight nobody and you can't do that. You better put your little 22 inside of that jacket or something that's gonna work out. But you can't be putting what you got a sawed off in your pocket, trying to hurry up and shoot. You gotta think about the ease of access, Eddie. It only makes sense if you can rob somebody. You got to make sure, or take a switchblade or something that you can get out. Now look at you, sitting there bleeding. Mr. Owner Man gets the gun and bow, he shoots Eddie in the same leg Eddie already shot himself in. So now, what's I tell y'all? Now, you losing money, you lock your keys in the car, you're causing a whole bunch of ruckus. Got these folks looking at you out the window, bringing unnecessary attention. You done got tackled by some good Samaritans. You done shot yourself in the leg. And the good Samaritan done shot you in the same leg too. And you 61. Now, them bones and muscles and your healing process is finna be a trip. Do you hear me? You can't be doing stuff like that, Eddie. So Eddie gets shot by himself. Eddie gets shot by the good Samaritan auto shop owner. And finally, after a little more fighting, the sheriff arrives. So the sheriff's like, thank you, Mr. Auto Shop body owner, and thank you, employee. Eddie, come on, let's go. We finna book you, take you on down the road, however you want to say it. So they take him on down, and poor Eddie, who I think deserves the worst bank robber award, mind you, I didn't give y'all the date. This date of this happened on January 13th, 2003. So you brought your new year in like this, basically 2 weeks into the new year, and this is what you're doing, okay? He was set for the next day or the next week, or maybe sometime that week, sometime soon. Let me just say that. Sometime soon after this whole bank robbery incident, he was set to go to court to take a plea deal because they found guns on him. Now, mind you, Eddie is a convicted felon. Okay? We'll get to that. Eddie is a convicted felon. They search Eddie's house and they find 18 guns. Which, let's talk about that. You had 18 guns that they found. Now, you here today with a whole nother gun, which means you got access to guns. You can figure out how to get a gun, or you got some guns in all kinds of places. Why you pick a gun that you ain't know how to work to go rob this bank, Eddie? You had about 20 guns at your disposal. I'm going to say 20 because 18, then you got this one. And I just feel like 19 is an odd number. So you had at least one more. They, I'm sure, took the 18 because you were a felon. You ain't supposed to have no guns. But if you had this one hiding somewhere, or either went out and got this, you got some guns somewhere else from somewhere else that you could have picked a better gun that you knew how to use, or that was going to fit in your pocket a little bit better, sir. So, anyway, they found him with 18 guns. He got arrested because he's a felon. Felons are not supposed to have weapons. Okay, so he was set to go to jail that same week and take a plea deal for that whole gun charge. And he was going to have to go back and do some time because, like I said, he had already been locked up because he was a felon. They took the plea deal off the table. They like, no, because you ain't learned your lesson. You over here with 18 guns, Eddie. Ain't no lesson learned in that. Now I see you trying to keep one, and you can at least say, well, I was worried about my safety. I wanted to keep something so I could feel safe. 18 guns, you can't even lie. You can't lie your way out of that, my boy. It's nothing that you finna say to try to figure that out. So what he go to jail for? Or prison, actually. He went to prison. Y'all know what he went to prison for previously? Bank robbery. Eddie, you 0 for 2 in this bank robbery thing. I don't know. You might be 2 for 2. It might be 2 that we don't know nothing about, and you done got away with that, so that's why you keep going back. You might be 10 for 2, Eddie. I don't know. Maybe you done it, and you got away with it. But for what I know, for the records, the professional records out here, the stats on your squad, 0 for 2. The first time happened all the way back in 1963. So back in 63, Eddie robbed a bank, he got caught, and he ended up serving almost 20 years in prison. Which, another side note, 20 years for a bank robbery is a lot. Most of the time that I've read on, when people rob banks, they don't be getting no 20 years. They'll get like 5 to 7 years, which, let's say you're going to run into the bank and get like, let's say a $500,000. Let's just use that as a number. Let's say you rob a bank and you get a $500,000, which is unlikely. Most folks that rob banks do not get that much money. But let's say you do. Is that $500,000 worth 5 to 7 years? Maybe. I don't know. I'm not condoning any violence or any crimes, but 5 to 7 years, $500,000. It's not a bad trade. Depending on how you break it down, that's like $100,000 a year for one job. Something to think about if you are a criminal. I'm not telling anybody to go be a criminal, because that is not what I would do, because criminals are not cool people. Crime does not pay. And if you do the crime, you pay the time, or whatever they say. So all I'm saying is 20 years is a lot. So maybe he ended up with some other charges, or maybe he was a felon before this happened, because 20 years is a lot for robbing a bank. Now, fast forward back to 2003, what we're talking about this story here. He ended up getting 8 felony charges just for this. So he got, of course, the armed robbery. He got 2 attempted murder charges for Mr. Owner Man and Mr. Employee, which I thought was a little harsh, not even gonna lie, because y'all charged him with attempted murder, and he shot himself. He ain't even shooting them. They did not get shot. Neither one of them. Now, mind you, Eddie shot twice and getting 2 attempted murder charges. Eddie, abort mission, brother. That's it. We don't want to do this no more with you. This is you. You are just not it for the bank robberies, okay? Figure something else out. So, he had a slew of other charges as well. Like I said, 2 attempted murders, which I don't think is fair. Like assault, maybe. Assault with a deadly weapon even. But attempted murder and you actually didn't even shoot them, even though you technically tried. You didn't hit them. I don't think that attempted murder was appropriate. But it might have got dropped to something lesser. I have no clue. But let's fast forward to now. What is this? 2023. Eddie dead. It's not funny. It is not funny that Eddie is dead. But Eddie is dead. Now, mind you, back in 2003, he was 61. Oh, he actually died back in September of 2014. And at the ripe age of, I think, 72 is how old he was when that happened. I'm not even going to say rest in peace. I almost said it because that was like the right thing to say. But I don't think that's the right thing to say, because I don't really care if Eddie is resting in peace or not. And I'm sorry if that sounds harsh, but it really don't matter to me. I don't know Eddie. And Eddie seems to be the type of person that has never really learned his lesson in life. And he went to jail. He definitely was not rehabilitated, because you done did 20 years almost, got out and went and did the same foolish mess that got you over there in the first place. And that to me makes absolutely no sense. So I ain't gonna say rest in peace, but rest. I'm sorry. That's it. All right, Eddie. I ain't really got nothing to say to you. I don't know how to speak dead. Oh my gosh. I am so sorry. That was wrong. I don't know what's wrong with me. It's been too long since I recorded this video, and I am too deep in to start all the way over. I meant to say, I am not going to talk to you like I usually do to the criminals at the end of the story, because I don't think it would serve a purpose. That's what I'm going to say. I'm so sorry. Y'all, that was ignorant of me. I shouldn't have said that. But yeah, that's my story, y'all. That's my first January story. We'll see how consistent I can get with these. If my babies ain't right, I ain't no content finna go up, because number one priority for me, y'all. I'm my mama first. But yeah, let me know what y'all think. Subscribe to my channel and y'all watch and share stuff, because I do want to get more folks watching my stuff. Maybe once I start posting a little bit better, a little more consistent, then I can do that. But in the meantime, I appreciate your time. It's so sweet of you to stop by and see what I'm talking about today. Don't do nothing stupid until I post the next video. If you do, make it stupid enough so I can talk about you. And until next time, stay cookie.